I think we've all heard the term taking a shine to someone. To take a shine to someone is to connect with someone, maybe for the very first time, and to see almost, it's a powerful, powerful thing where you're able to talk about life and you recognize that you're understood. It almost feels like this person has known you your whole life, and you have also known that person your whole life. To take a shine to someone is a powerful, powerful human expression that gives us a taste of God's love working between and within people. There's something about that unique power where we almost are giving birth to the other. It's something extremely, extremely special, and sadly, a little bit rare. Well, today, imagine being one of the three disciples, James, John, or Peter. Imagine being with Jesus for the last 3 years. You've seen him preach, you've seen him teach, you've seen him heal people, stand up to people, do the things he needed to do, to live fully as God and fully as man. You've seen the complete, unabridged Jesus, and you have been strengthened and fortified by his leadership. And then imagine, one day he asks you to walk up a mountain with him. And you do. Follow Jesus. You follow Jesus up a mountain. And he gets a little bit ahead of you, and then all of a sudden you notice, you're kind of tired, you all of a sudden notice he is beginning to pray. And as he is beginning to pray, he is beginning to shine. A powerful shining, something dazzling, something you had never seen before. And then all of a sudden, as he is praying and as he is shining, two people appear, Elijah and Moses. Now, in Bible study this week, people said, oh, how would they have known it was Elijah and Moses? They had never met Elijah and Moses. They certainly didn't have photographs in those days. But in any event, they knew. They knew it was Elijah and Moses. And for us, Elijah and Moses represents the totality of law and the prophets. It is an entire sweep of the Old Testament, standing right there with Jesus. And then, all of a sudden, they fade away. They're gone. And they hear a voice that clarifies, this is my chosen one. Listen, listen, listen to him. Jesus begins to revise and strengthen and contextualize the Old Testament and brings us and them new life. And so they come down the mountain and they begin a journey. The final journey, the only real journey to Jerusalem they had. And maybe that journey lasted as long as our Lenten series takes place. But they begin a journey to Jerusalem, and they're walking with Jesus, and they go all the way in. They experience the death and resurrection of Jesus, and then you, being one of those disciples, walk right in here. Today, at St. John Lutheran Church, and so today we are invited to let God's light shine through us, to recognize that that light, that shalom, that exists gives us an opportunity to experience the fullness of God's grace and to give the fullness of God's grace in all sorts of ways. And as we let our lives transform, as we accept Christ fully into our lives, we begin to shine. It's a light that is something different than the world offers. The problem is that some people are afraid to shine, to take a chance, to dive all the way into the pools of shalom and to give their lives up entirely. It's scary. Sometimes I hear from people that say, well, I make mistakes. I'm a sinner saved by grace. I can't live up to that. It's not possible. And so people don't try so hard. And we tend to forget that we are sacred, that we are loved beyond our human ability to understand, that God has our back, even if people sometimes don't. We can do this. I remember years ago, I was the executive director of development for the Salvation Army, the Eastern Michigan Division, the whole eastern side of the Mid. And I was on what they call the finance board, which is the highest level of governance in the Army. And the board of directors is under and so on. But anyway, this is the top thing. All the members of the board were Salvation Army officers, except yours truly. I was the only layman, I guess, in the group. And I remember one day, do you remember Kramer? Kramer from Seinfeld? And how he would enter Jerry's apartment and slide in. He's this gangly guy, and here he is. Well, there was this guy named Captain Andy Miller. He was kind of a gangly, Kramer-like guy. And he slides into the boardroom. He lands on a chair, and the chair has rollers, and it rolls all the way up next to me, and he puts his head on my shoulder. And he looks at me. He says, "Fish, don't you just hate it when you blow your witness?" And I said, "What'd you do?" And he said, well, I was at a basketball game last night. I was playing basketball, and I got pretty angry. I swore like a drunken sailor, and I threw the ball at someone, and I just went crazy. Don't you just hate it when you blow your witness? And I said, well, yeah. But you know what you got to do? You got to pick yourself up. You got to get back. You got to do what you got to do to make things right. But you got to pick up, and you don't stop because you screwed up. And Andy knew that. Andy knew that. You see, folks, we don't have to be perfect. Matter of fact, I believe, because I got a lot of these kind of grades, a lot of 70%ers in my day. I believe a 70% is a C. It's a passing grade. It's not so bad. What if every Christian in the world scored a 70% on the shining scale? Do you think this world would change? It'd be huge. We don't have to be afraid to fail. We have the opportunity to shine, to let our lives be transformed, and to let that happen without fear, without reservation. We have been given access to that kind of power. So we begin the Lenten journey in a few days, a time of quiet introspection. And it's important that we observe within ourselves those areas that need some form of interior reformation. And if we're honest with ourselves, we will find more than enough to pray over. And that's okay. But in the midst of this liturgical season, do not, I'd ask you, do not put your light under a table. Shine all the way. Give off God's love all the way. Allow yourself to be transformed and to transform the world in the best way you can, even in the midst of a contemplative time of year. We have that opportunity, my friends, to grow together, to learn together, to hear each other in new ways, to hear God working through us in new ways, to be informed. And then what happens, before you know it, Lent's over, the Holy Week's over, it's Easter Sunday, and we say, He is risen. And as we say, He is risen, we recognize we are as well. Amen.